Today I am joined by Crazytendo and NintendRo, and today we are going to be doing a MCU tier list.
So, hi guys, I'm Crazytendo. I'm really bad at introductions. I'm a big fan of the MCU, one of my favorite movie series ever, and it's doing really well. Stuff about me, I like Nintendo, I like waffles. Yeah, I guess that's it.
Hey guys, NintendRo here. Yeah, so another huge fan of Marvel and Nintendo, as you can't tell by my name. I've loved Marvel for a long time, and Nintendo, I've recently started my YouTube channel last year. It's going to be 1 year soon this year, so pretty cool. So if you guys haven't already, subscribe to Chris, subscribe to Crazytendo, subscribe to Nintendo, and make sure you have your notifications and subscriptions turned on.
Anyways, without further ado, let's get into the tier list. The first movie that we have on here is, I think, Avengers Infinity War.
Yep.
Yeah,
I think
Infinity War
is S tier.
Solid S tier for absolutely.
This might be a hot take in my opinion, but I definitely think Infinity War is much better than Endgame.
Honestly, I feel the same. It's definitely a lot better. I think it's a lot better paced, just a lot more enjoyable to watch.
I prefer Endgame, but Infinity War is a very close second to it.
Alright, up next,
Yeah.
Ant-Man. Where do we want to put this one? I think it's like a B tier.
Yeah, like a B or a C tier, I think.
Like low B tier?
Yeah, low B tier would work, I think.
Yeah, we'll just put it in B tier for now. We could move it later. I like the character of Scott Lang, but...
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Alright.
We're gonna get onto the bad ones later on.
Oh, yeah. Trust me, we will. Alright, Black Panther. I think this one's a pretty good one.
A tier. Yeah.
I would personally put it in S tier, in my opinion, because I definitely like the character development you see in Killmonger. Like
Oh, yeah.
the arc of his character and his father and everything. I
Yeah.
definitely enjoy that. Like I've always said Black Panther is like one of my favorite MCU films that I've ever seen. So I would put it in S tier.
What do you think, Crazy?
So personally, I agree with everything Nintendo says. However, I mean, there's just like some other MCU stuff that I find better, and therefore I just put in A tier.
Yeah, it's definitely a really well-made movie, but I just don't think it's like quite to the level of like Avengers Infinity War or like other movies we'll get later on. But it's definitely a high A tier for me.
Incredible Hulk.
The Incredible Hulk.
So I would put this F tier. However, knowing what comes next, I would put it D tier. Well, like not right after Hulk, but what other MCU stuff? I'd say that's the Hulk is D tier compared to those.
So you're saying something worse than Hulk?
Oh yeah.
There is.
I still would put it in F tier. I mean, I don't really remember much of Hulk as much, but I definitely think it's probably one of the weakest of all the MCU films we have.
It is, without a doubt. It's just...
Definitely is, because not only was it a different actor, but like the movie's just so forgettable.
I watched it, I think, at least 5 times in my life, and I still don't remember it.
Why would you watch it that many times?
Cable TV at my grandma's house.
Understandable.
We'll put it in D tier for now. Alright, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
A tier or A or S, because I prefer this one over the original. I think it's more funnier as well.
Plus,
also,
it's got star actor Chris Pratt.
Oh my god, Mario.
True. It's got Mario from the Chris Pratt movie in it.
Yeah.
So that just automatically
yeah.
gives both the Guardians of the Galaxy movies S tier. Yeah,
Yes,
I put it in S tier.
I've seen Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 about 5 times now, and it's still like one of the greatest films.
It's amazing.
It's
Yeah.
very fun to watch.
I only
watched it so
watched the
many
Guardian movies for the first time just 2 years ago because my mom wouldn't let me before because they were not appropriate for my age. But
yeah, there are some jokes in there which aren't like
Yeah.
for your age.
Definitely.
yeah,
That's just what makes it funny though.
I'm just 14 now.
That's more of a my age range thing.
But I thoroughly enjoyed that film, the first one as well.
Up next, Captain America: The First Avenger.
C tier, I would say. It helped shape up stuff in the MCU, but on its own, it's pretty lacking, I have to say.
Yeah, it's good to introduce the Captain America character, but I just feel there probably could have been better ways.
Yeah.
To have done this.
To be honest, I feel that's most of Phase 1, to be honest. It just not trying to be really
Yeah.
big movies, just setting up stuff for the
I
rest.
mean-
Phase 1, like, including Captain America and kinda Hulk, they did end up shaping the movie industry, which
Yeah.
is a pretty big thing to do.
One that didn't shape up the movie industry, however, is Captain Marvel. I personally feel this movie is easily an F tier. I just did not like the character of Captain Marvel. The movie itself is just a really boring and forgettable movie. I did not have any joy in watching this movie.
I kind of
Agree with
agree
you.
with you, I have to
I
say.
agree with you on that, but I definitely think it's better than Hulk, in my opinion.
I would say it's better
It's
than
better
Hulk
than
as well.
Hulk, but it's just
Yeah.
not a good movie. I think like out of the MCU movies that like are considered MCU, it's definitely the weakest.
I personally liked Captain Marvel. Obviously, not as much as like Black Panther and everything. I wouldn't put it in A or S or B tier. Maybe C in my opinion, but obviously I do understand that where you guys are coming from. I would put it in low C tier, but I guess high D tier would work. I guess if it's more 2-1 in this case.
All right, Doctor Strange. I liked that movie.
Yeah, it was good. I would put it in A tier, honestly.
I think it's A tier material. It was
Yeah,
a
behind
good-
Black Panther.
Yeah, definitely behind Black Panther. I feel like Black Panther was a better origin story, or like origin film. But Doctor
Yeah.
Strange was a really good one.
Doctor Strange was amazing.
The visuals as well are mind blowing as well.
The VFX were really, really good.
So A tier then.
Yeah.
Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Okay, so I'm just gonna get this out of the way. I am extremely biased to Spider-Man. Spider-Man is my favorite superhero without a doubt. And I mean, Homecoming is pretty mid, but it's an actually original Spider-Man origin story. Doesn't have Uncle Ben, doesn't have a radioactive spider, and yet still manages to work well. And I gotta give credit for that. I would put it in B tier, honestly.
I do agree. It was a good way to bring the character of Spider-Man into the MCU while making it somewhat unique compared to the other Spider-Man trilogies or duologies.
I put it above Ant-Man, I think. in my
Yeah.
opinion.
It was
I think.
definitely a better film than Ant-Man, I feel. Like, Ant-Man was fun
Yeah.
for what it was, but I think Spider-Man was the better bug-based character origin movie. On the topic of Spider-Man, it's, the film that introduces Spider-Man to the MCU, Captain America: Civil War.
Also introduced Black Panther, if I'm not wrong.
That's true, it does.
So Captain America Civil War is the real Avengers 3 let's face it, it is pretty much an Avengers movie, not a
Avengers.
Captain America. Honestly, Civil War, so my thing with Civil War is I watched it once fully, and then I tried to watch it many times after in airplanes, but something always happened and I stopped halfway through. It was either because I wanted to sleep or the flight had ended or something. But I've only ever seen like the entirety of the film twice, so I can't give much input, but I would probably put it somewhat like A or B tier personally.
Yeah, I mean, it was good to kind of like set up the whole like controversy between Tony Stark and I can't think of his name, Steve Rogers.
Which ultimately separated them and let Thanos win in Infinity War.
Yeah, it was a good way to kind of like bring that into play and kind of
Yeah.
have it build up to what would be Avengers Infinity War and the outcome of that, and then them having to come together to kind of restore what happened with Thanos and Endgame.
I'd either a
Right.
high B tier or it would be somewhere low A tier,
All right,
in my opinion, I think.
we'll set it in A tier
I mean,
for
I'll let-
now. WandaVision.
I haven't
Okay.
watched WandaVision.
I put an S tier.
You say S tier?
Yep.
I would agree with you, but I feel the first 3 episodes kind of drag it down for me. I did not enjoy watching
Sitcom.
those episodes. Yeah, the whole sitcom aspect of it, I just didn't really enjoy. Because like when I
Right,
watch an
so
MCU film or show or something, I like getting into it right away instead of like having a bunch of extra stuff in there and then finally getting into it like 4 episodes later.
thing here, sorry for spoilers, Kirby, but definitely the build up and like suspense all in this entire series is like amazing. Like sure, the first like 3 episodes go for like the 50s, 60s, and 70s and all the classic TV sitcom eras. But like obviously when you see at the end of the film, you realize someone's actually watching them on a TV. So
Yeah.
it gives suspense to be like what is going on. So it keeps the build up going. Then obviously the finale is like one of the like best TV finales of the MCU series.
I have
I
actually
do.
watched the finale. Bit of it, Agatha versus Wanda. That was pretty cool, I have to say. I liked it, but because I didn't actually watch the show, I didn't understand quite a lot of stuff.
And definitely liked how in certain throughout the episodes you can notice that the screen ratio kept changing as well,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like the
I thought that was pretty
effects
clever.
in each one, and then obviously Agatha's like the villain for Agatha herself was
Yeah.
like amazing, and that too we're getting Agatha her own TV show next year, I think, is it?
I
Like that?
actually completely forgot about that.
Yeah, so that'll give us more insight into this as well. So
I-
I would put it S tier, say above Galaxy 2, but I mean Guardians 2. I don't know. It's definitely
Oh,
S tier in my opinion. But
If
Wait.
you do look at it, it was pretty clever how they did set it up. The first 3 episodes, sure, they were not my favorite at all, but I mean, if you look at them for what they were, it was definitely clever how they played it off. Spider-Man: Far From Home.
This one's tricky because this movie is officially the conclusion of the Infinity Saga. It doesn't feel like a conclusion at all. And there are some aspects of the movie, it did help build the rest of the like the whole story of Mysterio just made utterly no sense. And then they revealed the MCU projects a few months later, and I was like, oh, that's why they had multiverse stuff.
I feel like the only reason for this film was to build up for what would be No Way Home. It's kind of like just like a way to, instead of just like jumping right into it randomly, they just needed to make a film in between there.
Far From Home also was like the first movie after Endgame, and also showed like
The aftermath.
the aftermath and Peter's loss of Tony Stark and how he's dealing with it.
you can see the chemistry of Peter and MJ. It develops in this film as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it
Which
does.
obviously leads up to No Way Home, which we'll get
Yeah.
to later.
Yeah.
But
I would put it either low B or high C personally.
I think we'll put
I
it
think it
low.
would be best to put low B. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely has some decent character development in there with like Peter losing Tony as like a father figure and how he takes that and how he feels like he needs to be just like Tony Stark. He needs to be the next Tony Stark and just how that was. But it definitely could have been a better film. The whole Mysterio thing was kind of just, who knows, like what was even the purpose of him?
I have this bad habit of sometimes going to dumb plot holes, but like, did Nick Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D. not bother up trying to find any records of Mysterio? Because, I mean, that's what a secret organization should do.
Yeah, that's also what makes no sense to me.
That is true, yeah.
All right, up next, probably the best Thor movie of all time, Thor Ragnarok.
That's not a probably, it's a definitely.
Yes, it's easily the best Thor. It's the
Okay.
most funniest, and like I thoroughly enjoy watching Thor Ragnarok, like comedic effects, and like just Korg and Meek, like as themselves, like you can never go wrong with Korg and Meek.
Oh, yeah.
True.
I would put it S tier.
Honestly.
Except I watched it 7 times and it just started getting boring for me, so that kind of waters it down a bit. But my god, it's such a
I'd
good
put it-
movie.
I would put it S tier above WandaVision.
Yeah,
Would you guys
but-
put it above Guardians?
That's very debatable. I think they're easily interchangeable.
I think it's fine below Guardians right
Yeah.
now, but definitely the whole like all the comedic effects and everything in
Yeah,
this film is
definitely.
on point.
The only good Thor movie at this time, I feel. The other two are just
Oh yeah,
really,
definitely.
Yeah.
really boring, and
I mean-
compared to this, it's just like a breath of fresh air, and it was nice to watch.
Maybe Love and Thunder might be better because combining Guardians and Thor into one film,
Yeah,
like
that's-
two of the
yeah.
funniest series in the MCU
And
into
it's
one.
by the same director as Ragnarok, which I'm not complaining about.
I am not
At
complaining
all.
about that at all. I think this could easily be one of the best MCU films if they pull it off right. Anyways,
Yep.
Yeah.
back to our insect friend, Ant-Man and the Wasp.
What was the point of the movie? Like, what was the point of his existence? Trying to get back Hope's mom, right?
Yeah.
But like, they put Hope's mom on the poster for the movie. That's like putting Toby and Andrew on the poster for No Way Home.
I feel the reason this film exists is to, I guess, more introduce the character of the Wasp, and to also introduce the quantum realm, which was a big part of Avengers Endgame.
Okay, that is true. That is true.
You're right.
But it was
You're
just
right.
really lacking and boring.
I feel it could have been done a whole lot better. I definitely think it's
Yeah.
C tier.
I think
Yeah,
those-
low C.
Yeah.
Low C.
It wasn't as bad as Captain Marvel, but it definitely
No.
wasn't as good as the first one, or like I think it's a little bit worse than Captain America: The First Avenger. Speaking of the Avengers, we have the original. Wait, no, that's Age of Ultron. Is
Age of Ultron,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's Age of Ultron.
oh yeah, the other one's right there. Okay, yeah. This film is considered the worst Avengers film of all time.
I liked it actually.
Yeah, I did like it. I like how it set up like Vision as a character,
Yeah,
and obviously there were some stupid bits in the film, like how they killed off
Quicksilver, the human
Quicksilver,
shield.
who's meant to be the quickest man alive, yet can be killed by bullets, which is stupid.
Sonic dodges missiles, and Quicksilver can't dodge a bullet. It was a good movie. And when you think about it, Wanda's visions to Tony did kind of scare Tony, and kind of, in a way, showed what a world where Thanos won in the final battle against the Avengers might have looked like. It's a long shot, but the overall story for the movie was not that bad. I have to say, it was pretty good.
the story itself isn't the problem with it. I think the biggest problem that people had with this film was the execution of it. It just didn't feel like that Ultron was how Ultron should have been.
He just wanted to lift Sokovia and just throw it.
Yeah, his motives weren't super strong in the film.
To save humanity, one must destroy humanity.
Well,
Personally, I don't think that's saving humanity, but that's just my opinion.
So do we put it in C
B-
I personally would put it
I'd
in
say-
either high C tier or low B tier.
Yeah, I would say behind Far From Home, honestly.
We'll put it in front of Captain America for now. I think it was
Alright.
a bit of a better movie. And I mean, there's more like characters that you can see develop throughout the story than just the single Captain America. Iron Man, the first MCU film of all time. I liked this movie. Like,
I liked it as well, honestly. It was pretty good. And Iron Man is one of the first superheroes that I found out about, so that's nice.
it's A tier or S tier. I don't know which one.
Low
A,
A.
No A, like so behind Captain America Civil War or ahead of it.
Alliance
Panther
War.
maybe.
All right, because like it was a good movie. It was a good way to take a genius billionaire who made weapons and kind of change his life around after
One of his weapons attacked him.
more of a cautious person as a whole instead of just this jerk that thought he was like the strongest man alive and was invincible. It definitely started what was to be the development of his character. It was a good introduction of his character. Definitely one of the strongest in the MCU, I feel.
Speaking of Iron Man 2.
I don't remember this one too well. Like,
Yeah, I don't remember it. I just remember Whiplash.
Yeah, I can't remember
Yeah.
that well.
And I remember
Yeah,
the
Whiplash.
the super cool like costume that came out of the briefcase. But it honestly didn't do that much for the MCU as a whole. I would put it between the Captain America, First Avenger, and Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
This one's easily S tier. This one is definitely better than Guardians.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's behind Infinity
just-
War.
I find Endgame better, but like yeah, it's 2-1, so we'll put it there.
It was a
Mhm.
good way to give characters closure or just like end the arcs of characters. But I just feel like Infinity War was a little bit better paced and just had more action in it. And I mean, just as an overall more enjoyable.
There was no post-credit scene, which is a bummer.
I think it's only fitting though that there was no post credit scene because it was the end of a saga
Yeah.
pretty much. It was,
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they did obviously having Iron Man die, and then Steve Rogers turning into Joe Biden.
Yeah, it definitely is a top tier film. It's definitely like, it's so good that it became one of the best, if not the best selling film in the world.
It's second because
second to
Avatar
Avatar.
re-released in China last year.
Right? It's
I didn't
second
even
to
know it's
Avatar.
possible to re-release a movie.
Maybe they need to do that with
Avatar.
Endgame. Give Endgame more money than it already has. Anyways, Guardians of the
Yeah.
Galaxy. Don't think this one is as good as second film.
No.
I would put it in B tier, maybe A. I don't know, B or A. I'm thinking, because definitely they introduced the Guardians,
It
and
was a very fun film to watch. It
Mhm.
was they introduced or they brought the characters together in a pretty decent way. I feel.
Most people, I think, mostly forget that the first Guardians movie is supposed to be an origin story. As an origin story, it did insanely well, but
It
as a
did.
movie in general, not as good. I think the placement you're doing right now, Chris, it's a good placement.
I definitely feel
For
it's
second?
not as good as a film as Iron Man, but it definitely is up there. I don't think it's quite B tier. It's still a very enjoyable film, but there's just better films out there in the MCU than it. Not a bad film at all.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
All right, we're getting into the mid movies of the
Ah.
MCU. The first Thor. Where do we
Thor.
put this?
Man,
I
one
would
is
put it
oh
so
man,
C or
I don't actually
D.
remember much of it.
Yeah, I can't remember much of it. But obviously they did introduce us to Thor. So I guess because obviously the status of the film is, I'd put it maybe a low C, maybe.
like behind
'Cause
Ant-Man and the Wasp. Or...
Yeah,
Uh,
All right. All I really remember about
Yeah.
it was Thor was exiled to Earth, fell in love with this Earth woman, and his brother tried killing him. That's all I got out of it.
yeah.
Then he became
yeah.
worthy of the hammer again. Other than that,
yeah.
I really don't
Alright.
remember much of the movie itself.
So going from Thor, we're gonna have Dark World.
Oh yeah, this is
Dark World. F tier. Nothing more must be said.
Yeah, Nick, just let's move on to Iron Man 3 now. Everyone knows Thor Dark World. It's like the most boring movie. Like they didn't even use like the fact that they had
The Ether.
the Red Infinity Stone, the
Ether.
Ether. Like it's like
Yeah,
they barely used it like at all.
it was the worst MCU movie for me.
It was such a lame way to like introduce the Reality Stone and like to build Thor's character arc as a whole. It's such a like boring and
It was dumb.
forgettable movie.
Just like, yeah.
Besides the introduction of the Ether, what do you remember about the film?
What else do I remember?
That's my
I
point.
remember it had Chris Hemsworth in the film.
I think that
Yeah.
since his name is Chris, though, I think this is easily a S tier.
Oh
film,
yeah.
Because the name Chris is just pretty based. Anyways, Iron Man 3.
I would say that's also F, probably.
You think?
Maybe.
I don't think it was that bad. I mean, maybe a C or a D in my opinion. I mean, I remember parts of it. I remember like the Mandarin and all that stuff
The
with was it
Mandarin.
Hammer. Yeah, and what's his name? Justin Hammer.
I definitely enjoyed it a bit more than Captain Marvel. I don't think it was as bad as Captain Marvel. It might just be because I just despise that film because of like how boring of a film it was and just how weak of character introduction it was. But I think it might be better than Captain Marvel, in my opinion. What do you guys think?
I guess
I
so.
think
Yeah.
it's yeah. I mean,
Yeah, better.
I think it's better. I mean, I think they're essentially at par. They're both the same, so they
Yeah.
can easily be interchangeable.
Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
I will say it's probably the most underrated MCU movie.
I feel like it is better than Civil War. I don't know if that's a hot take or not, but
I think you should put it in A tier, above Civil War, or
And between-
above Doctor Strange. I think it's above Doctor
I
Strange.
think right there is like a good spot for it, honestly.
Yes, everything about the Winter Soldier that they introduced here and like Bucky
Yeah,
was really cool, and I
Yeah.
definitely think it's one of the best Captain America films.
Street crime MCU movies are actually really good. Like it's a nice contrast between, like, oh, multiverse problems, time stuff, It's just nice, laid back.
I miss those
Yeah.
things in the MCU, honestly, like when things were a lot simpler. Before the first Avengers, which introduced the invasion of alien species on Earth.
The original Avengers. I mean, it being the original Avengers, I think it would have to go somewhere around A tier. I'd say A tier, but maybe not as good as a Black Panther.
I'd say, personally, I would put it under Guardians 1.
You think?
Yeah, because
I personally think it was maybe better than Doctor Strange, like in my opinion, that is. But
alright, so Chris,
yeah.
where do you want to put it?
I think, like in between Doctor Strange and Guardians of the Galaxy, 1 would be a good place for it. Somewhere in here, I think would be like a good place for it.
Yeah.
Enjoyed it a lot. It was a great way to bring these characters together to protect Earth. It was a great way to like kind of bring them all together and start the whole Avengers saga. But I just feel certain movies like, oh, these ones just did a better job at like, building character or
Right.
introducing character. And up next we got, I think Falcon and the Winter Soldier is that one, right?
So Falcon and the Winter Soldier is, in my opinion, the third best MCU show.
That's kind of a hot
Really?
take, I
I
think.
absolutely enjoyed
Oof,
it.
hot take right there. Okay, in my opinion, I think it's probably the worst of the TV shows. I mean, yeah, sure, it's set up like obviously Captain America as like Sam Wilson, yeah. But again, it's like the other shows are definitely much better than this one.
Yeah.
Even I would think, what if it's better than this? I think it's probably. I wouldn't put it F tier is too much of a stretch for it. I think maybe a C tier, maybe just below Ultron.
You think it's better than the first Captain America?
I don't know. I think there is fine.
I only think it was the weakest of the live-action MCU films, though.
Would you put it in D tier?
I mean, I think I might. Like, I don't think it was as boring as Thor, but it just had so much filler in it.
Probably just raging in his chair right now.
I would have put it in A tier, honestly. I liked it a lot.
Like, just objectively, I just feel it
What?
it would have been a lot better as just a film instead of a 6-episode long series. Speaking of films, we got Black Widow. Like, if I'm being honest, this one is so
D-tier.
forgettable.
D tier. No,
It's
no questions asked. What are your thoughts on it, Will?
I liked Black Widow personally. I liked it. I think it's definitely better than Thor. It's better than Winter Soldier. I would put it in C tier in my opinion, just above Iron Man 2, because the way obviously it shows the backstory of the Black Widow, and obviously just Yelena Belova as a character is just like iconic. I love Yelena Belova as a character. Like, she's just a mood. Like, everything about her is amazing, and I think it's definitely above Iron Man 2. It might be top C tier. I don't know. I'm just saying it'd be top C tier.
Yeah, Yelena was definitely the best character in the movie.
Yeah, Yelena was a good introduction. I really liked the character and like how she was kind of introduced in this film, and then like made an appearance again in Hawkeye, which it looks like that the person that created this tier list completely forgot about Hawkeye. So we'll just discuss that one.
Oh.
Yeah, see, I had a feeling something was missing there. We'll just put them in, edit in the video somewhere. Yeah.
Alright, Loki. I liked this show. Like, it was.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I definitely think it was I think it was probably one of my favorite MCU shows. Hawkeye and Moon Knight were my top 3. Where do we think this goes?
I think it's a good place for A tier. Above Doctor Strange,
yeah.
I think.
Winter
Loki
Soldier.
is so low-key underrated.
I feel like it
So
might be better
funny.
than Winter Soldier, like in my opinion.
I'd agree with you there, yeah.
On the opposite end of the spectrum, we got What If.
It's the first animated MCU film. I mean, sorry, not film, TV show.
The idea of what if
all the
is
stories.
good.
I
Just,
would
like,
put it maybe somewhere in C tier. I think somewhere in C tier. I think.
Really, it just didn't really make sense up until the finale when you saw all these characters come together and beat the Vision Ultron or something, whatever it was called. I don't remember what it was called, but
I think it was Infinity also.
Super Ultron.
Yeah.
Super Saiyan Ultron.
Yeah, I think it was Infinity.
The conclusion of the first season was fun, and the idea of it was fun, but there's only certain episodes that I actually really remember.
And there's also stuff that made no sense. Like, you know, in that episode where what if all the Avengers died? They said, oh, because Hank Pym wanted to avenge his daughter. Why did he want to avenge his daughter? What got her killed? Literally nothing was explained of that. It was just like really just like random stuff.
That's what this, I feel like this show as a whole is. It's just random ideas. Like, what if Doctor Strange became a father? Like that, I wouldn't be surprised if that was one for like season 2 or something. Like just random like things in the multiverse. I was like, okay, let's make an episode about that.
At least the good thing about this is they can't consider it non-canon because they oh yeah, these are just what if scenarios. What if they'll actually ever happen?
And I mean, it was kind of a cool way to like kind of like look at the multiverse and be like, what if this did happen? And I definitely think like C tier would be a good place for it. I think it, like, since it doesn't follow just one story, it's better than Falcon and the Winter Soldier, because Falcon and the Winter Soldier just sticks to one story through 6 episodes. I mean, like, all the shows do this, yes, but like, it was just such a slow-paced show, so I think What If is better than it just because of that. Alright,
Yes.
Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
I would put this in A tier. I
really
definitely enjoy
enjoyed
watching
this
Shang-Chi.
It was such a good film. I liked the CGI work with it. I liked the story, and it was cool to see the Mandarin again. I just thought that was
Yeah.
kind of funny,
Yeah.
honestly. Just like out of nowhere, we saw the Mandarin again. It's like, oh, he's here. And just like the character development in it, and just the character of Shang-Chi himself, I just like the character. I definitely look forward to seeing more of him in the MCU, because like I could just see them doing a lot with this character. I don't think there's any question. Spider-Man: No Way Home is the best Phase 4
MCU
film
film?
to date. The
It's also
best-
my favorite MCU movie.
I personally would put it like just above Endgame.
I do. You
But
honestly,
I don't know. I don't know. It's like
I'm kind of like in between these two. Like, I don't know which one I like better.
watching Endgame and No Way Home in the cinema is probably the best experience I've had watching a film. Like all the
Honestly.
hype in the entire crowd and everything. Just Toby and Andrew being in the film and everything was amazing. The moments
That
they
was
had
amazing.
like when Andrew saved MJ from dying, that moment. And also they killed off Aunt May as well, which is a bit sad, but you know, I mean she said
It
the
was
line,
bound to
so
happen.
she had to go.
Just a bit of a side note. I think it's funny that all the like biggest hype character like showings in these movies have been done through portals. Because we had
That's
the
true.
we had the portal scene at Endgame.
You're right. Yeah.
And then we had the portals with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield in No Way Home.
Yeah. But like, listen, guys. This movie had Spider-Man, Spider-Man, and Spider-Man. Okay, it was amazing. 3 Spider-Man together. I mean, sure, we had more than 3 Into the Spider-Verse, but this is different.
This is MCU. This is live action.
Yeah.
This is canon. Honestly, it's hard to say between these three. Like, I think this one's a bit better than Endgame, but it's hard to say between Infinity War and No Way Home. It's definitely the strongest like individual character film in the MCU. There's no questions about that. It's definitely the best standalone film that isn't an Avengers film to date so far. There is no questions about that. I don't think it's quite to the level of Infinity War though. Like there's just so much about Infinity War. Like the outcome was absolutely like I don't think anyone saw it coming with Infinity War. I mean, you probably got an idea that something bad was going to happen, but I don't think anyone really expected going into it that the Avengers were going to lose. I think where we have it right now is objectively where like it should be. It's definitely probably the second best project for the
guess,
MCU.
yeah.
On the topic of best
Moving on to
projects,
Moon Knight.
I think Moon Knight is the best MCU show today.
It has to be S tier. S tier.
It
I would
Oh.
put it
S tier.
Definitely.
No.
maybe behind Endgame.
Even before the twists happened, it was already my favorite show.
Everything about like all the characters and everything is just completely different to what you would expect for like you know a MCU film. Not too. It is what 16 plus
Yeah.
as well, which is like the highest rating for any of the Marvel films, and like everything about all the character development in this is amazing as well.
Yeah, I really liked the whole
Yeah.
character development with Mark and Steven.
It's so hard to believe that this is the same film studio that made The Incredible Hulk. But like, just Moon Knight, incredible. I knew nothing about the character, like nothing. I didn't even know about split personalities or anything before watching the show.
I didn't.
And
either.
I pretty much understand everything. I mean, apart from the stuff you're not supposed to understand, but you know what I mean.
And like, just it's such an engaging show. Like, it'll leave you off at a place where it's like, well, what's gonna happen next? Like, you have no idea what to expect because it's just that kind of show where it's like anything is possible to happen.
Yeah.
And that's what I liked about it. I liked that like you could predict literally anything to happen, and there was a chance that it could happen. You didn't know what to expect next week. So like the hype for building up to the finale of the show was one of the most fun like weeks I've had like with the MCU shows today.
If I'm correct, the final episode released the same week as Multiverse of Madness, right?
Yeah, it did.
All right.
Speaking of Multiverse of Madness, let's go on to this. So
I think you mean Multiverse of Midness.
You think
Honestly,
it's mid
like, I think it's
okay. I will say, Ro was there when this happened. I put a fake, well, it was a joke spoiler the Discord server for Switch Stop, and then I got a real spoiler a few minutes later.
I personally would put it in A tier. I would put it definitely better than Loki. I would put it just behind Shang-Chi. It might be better than Shang-Chi actually. It might be because of the first of all. Sorry, if you haven't seen the film, just spoilers ahead. But the entire Illuminati with that entire scene is amazing. And just first of all, can I just say, Sam Raimi as a director, he's amazing. Like, there's certain scenes in this entire film which I like. When I watched it in the film, I was like, oh my god, this is so cool. Like when Professor X was in that white area, and then like Wanda's the real Wanda was stuck inside that broken building. So then when obviously he went in, then the entire red powder or mist just entered through. Then that is definitely what I loved. But it's also very, I would it's obviously because Sam Raimi himself is a mainly horror based director, so obviously all the jump scares were really cool. And but in that scene, she doesn't just snap his neck; she rips his jaw and face apart. So you can't not put that in the A tier. I think it's better than Shang-Chi in my personal opinion. Final post credit scene was a bit stupid, but
I thought it was funny though.
No, put it above Loki. Put it above Loki.
It's hard for me.
Okay. Multiverse of Madness. Okay, I just want to say the Illuminati were completely useless. Black Bolt, Mr. Fantastic, woohoo! They're in the MCU. Now let's just kill them because we can do that now.
This is a different universe. We don't care about this universe. Let's just kill off all their heroes
while watching the movie. So in 838, they proceed on red, not green. Kinda how the Illuminati proceeded to go attack the Scarlet Witch without knowing anything beforehand. If I'm correct, Captain Marvel said, "Do you not think we can handle your little witch?" or something like that. And I was just thinking, bruh, when, the battle happened.
I think that the film itself, not necessarily a bad film, but there was just, for being a multiverse movie, they really didn't deliver with the promise of there being, multiversal madness.
A lot.
But the fact that we spent the whole movie, basically, like half of the movie in this other universe, and then in our universe, like the other half, with a small bit of the collided universe, we only really saw 3 different multiverses. I just think that it could have been a lot more fun if we saw like America Chavez and Doctor Strange kind of going on a quest through different multiverses and kind of building the Marvel Illuminati, which could lead to Secret Wars later on or something, instead of the Illuminati just being this Avengers group of another multiverse or of another universe. I just think there was missed potential with the Illuminati. Could have been a lot better if it was more of a multiverse based film instead of just spending the whole time in this one universe and then spending the rest of it in our MCU universe. I just think there's missed potential. I'm not even talking about the cameos and stuff. Those are cool. Just kill them off within 5 minutes. I thought that was kind of humorous. I just feel there wasn't much hype for this film, going into it or coming out of it. It's not I wonder what's gonna happen next. And the fact I think Wanda's motives are a little iffy. Sure, she wants to see her boys again after WandaVision, but her wanting to get the powers of the multiverse to basically enslave the multiverse just to see her children, I think that's a little bit excessive.
It wasn't Wanda who did that. It was the Darkhold. The book itself made her do it.
Yeah.
So you can't really blame Wanda for that.
She decided to use the Darkhold though.
What you could say was the entity of the Scarlet Witch is the whole reasoning behind this film happening. I do think Wanda's character though is probably the best character in the film. I definitely liked how they played off the whole Scarlet Witch thing. I thought that was pretty cool. But I don't know. I just have really mixed feelings for this movie. There's some very good things about it, but there's also some things that could have been done a lot better. I don't think it's quite above Loki.
No, it's not above Loki because during Multiverse of Madness there was no there wasn't much suspense of what's gonna happen next and stuff.
I just
in Loki there was somewhat.
There just wasn't much suspense to the film at all. Like, it's something that they missed. They missed out on it, for hyping it up so much. I feel like that there is just not as much suspense as there should have been.
I still
Where
think
we-
it's better than Loki. I still think it's better than Loki.
I don't think it is. I mean, it could be because of like me seeing Loki more times than Multiverse of Madness. I definitely have to check out the film again. So like, this could just be a placeholder place for it. It could be better than Loki.
I've already watched Multiverse of Madness twice. I still find Loki better.
Yeah, but the thing about like Loki is just like in each of them, it'd be like, oh, let's go to this area. Then okay, let's go to this area. Let's go here. Let's waste time over here. Let's go here. Let's go here. Whereas Multiverse of Madness is more like you can go for different universes and stuff.
But that's the thing, bro. They didn't do that.
They just stuck to one universe, and then our main MCU universe, the whole movie. We saw Wanda fuck up the heroes of this one universe, and her dying in our universe. So
How do you know Wanda's dead? She might not be dead. You never know.
Because otherwise that death would have been absolutely stupid.
anyways, moving on.
Well,
Eternals.
F tier. Put that in F tier.
below Dark World, I would say.
I think it's better than Dark World. I think it's better than Dark World. I don't know.
Eternals were they trying to make us actually care for these characters? Because
Yeah.
the only good one was Kingo, I believe was his name. The best character in the movie was his assistant. I think he was like the movie star, his assistant. The best character in the whole movie.
There was just too many characters, I feel.
Definitely not too many characters, and then
They
because
kill off half
there's way
them.
too many characters in this film, they didn't leave enough time for character development properly, and also like their excuse of being like, oh, we only interfere in certain matters. I mean, like you interfere when Celestials are involved, but you don't interfere when half the universe is being destroyed. Like that's kind of stupid.
I remember like when they found out that one of their members was the one that killed their leader. They could have made that a plot twist, but instead they showed the flashback, and then there's like, oh, I'm actually the bad guy. That was a surprise to the rest of the Eternals, but for us, the audience,
just,
were
like-
like, we just found out about that 5 seconds ago.
The main characters of Eternals itself were the worst in my opinion. I think Druig and Makari, those two were the best characters, like the side characters. I think they're the best characters easily. But again, I don't think you should give Eternals anything higher than F tier.
No, it definitely doesn't deserve it.
I think F tier's being generous for Eternals.
True. I just feel so.
Mhm.
My biggest problem with the film is they introduce too many characters in a small amount of time, and they kill off half them, expecting us to care that these characters are dead. It's like I just learned who this character is like 5 minutes ago. How am I supposed to care that they died? There's that,
Yeah.
and then like
And
the pacing of the film and just like the execution of the film itself is just really weak. Would have been better
Yeah.
if they did like an origin film, like where we actually saw these characters and then they released this film instead of throwing flashbacks randomly in the film. If we actually got to learn how the Eternals came to be, rather than, oh yeah, we've been on Earth for 2,000 years. It's like, okay, where have you been this
Like-
whole time?
just blending in with society. It's like, okay, so Eternals, they expected us to care for these new characters. It was just executed poorly. Like, for example, Moon Knight. I was absolutely, like, really, really sad when Stephen, quote unquote, died.
Yeah.
I was just, like, really upset about it. They actually made the character care-worthy. And then there's Eternals.
Where the characters just kind of exist. I do gotta say, the saving grace of Eternals is definitely the CGI. It's some of the best CGI we've seen in any Marvel films. Shang-Chi and Eternals.
Oh yeah, the VFX are good, but you remember the troll in the post-credit scene? I think they forgot to double check that.
Now that we've done these, we do have to address Hawkeye because for some reason they forgot that it exists. Hawkeye should be S tier. I do want to I think obviously we'll change placements around because I'm still a bit doubtful on certain placements at the moment, but I think Hawkeye should be S tier. I would put One Division higher than Guardians, and then Hawkeye just behind it. Also, just before we talk about Hawkeye, sorry, I completely forgot Harry Styles was in Hawkeye Eternals because
in Hawkeye.
I'm not into the Marvel comics, so when I heard Harry Styles say the words Star Fox and Thanos in the same sentence. When I heard Star Fox, I thought of Fox,
Smash.
the Smash character.
I thought of Smash too. I was like,
Hearing
oh,
Harry
no.
Styles say that in the same sentence as Thanos, that was
No,
not just why.
We'll just
Okay.
CG edit Hawkeye into S tier, just above Galaxy 2. Yeah, because definitely I enjoyed the story of this. And actually the twists in the film, the twists in this film were good as well. Because I think we all thought the dad, the stepdad. I think everyone thought that he was the main villain, but in the end it turned out to be the mum, and then Kingpin.
Yeah.
I definitely think it was more of like one of those shows that you could sit down as a family and enjoy it. Like anyone in the family could enjoy it. I definitely thought it was a great way to have a kind of like a Christmas type film in the MCU that also is a good film to watch any time of the year. The pacing of it is very strong. The story of it, introducing Kate Bishop, her character was a pretty fun one to see in the film.
The on-screen actions of the Elena and Kate were just that was really cool.
It was, yeah. Seeing Yelena in the film and mourning the death of Natasha, is trying to seek revenge, and then Clint also mourning the death of Natasha, but feeling guilt about it. Seeing those two characters interact, it definitely hit different. I just think overall, seeing Clint as kind of a father figure and a role model, Kate, and protecting her, I think that was a very cool thing to see. After a little bit of discussion, this is what we finally decided on, with Hawkeye being in the middle of WandaVision and Guardians of the Galaxy 2. This video was a lot of fun to make, and I want to give a quick shout out to Crazytendo and NintendRo again for helping make this tier list. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Thanks again to Crazytendo and NintendRo for joining the video. Make sure you guys go check out their channels down below. Everything will be linked. And thanks again if you watched to the end. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you guys in the next one.